guys hear me okay with that? Is that good? Okay. I want to respect everybody's time. I know we're all super busy. Myself included, off to a baseball meeting as soon as I finish here. So I really appreciate you coming. I think that the information is super valuable for what we're trying to do with all of our athletic programs. So I appreciate you taking the time to come out tonight and pick up on a few things that we're trying to do. So, first off, I wanted to finish with a recap of this last year. So at the high school level and at the middle school level, this is a highlight of what we did at the high school level. Super proud of the athletes, the time that they put in, the commitments they made, even with all of the COVID restrictions. I mean, we had so many restrictions to abide by. I thank you all parents for being patient. We really didn't have very many issues with all the restrictions, so thank you. But yeah, some of the celebrations that I feel like should be honored is boys golf state champions. That's 3 in a row for them. Speech and debate, 2 in a row for them. Some of our individual state champions with wrestling and individual state champions with golf. And there's lots of other celebrations as well, I know. So just a thank you. I want to make sure that we have the positivity coming off of our COVID year as we go into hopefully a non-COVID year. So we'll see how that works out. Okay, so the first bit of important information I wanted to share with you guys is our summer lifting information. That's on that front table as you came in. I believe the middle school program is on the orange sheet and the high school program is on the yellow sheet. We ask that exiting 8th graders, entering 9th graders go with the high school program. So if you're in that boat, make sure you get to the correct one. You can see the times on the sheet there. We're going to start June 1st, so the day after Memorial Day, and really get things going. This is kind of how we want to structure it, and this structure is really based off of COVID, so not all things were bad. We found out that doing it this way last year was really beneficial for our efficiency. So getting them in, getting them warmed up with a coach, get them into the weight room, get their strength portion done, and then a cool down or conditioning session after that. Meanwhile, we've got the next group going, and so on and so forth. You can also see the middle schools in there as well. So each day that we have lifting sessions, there will be a 6:30 and a 7:30 for high school, and then an 8:30 for middle school. All of those sessions will be at the high school, even for the middle school kids. The choice for that was, I feel like we have more tools here than we have at the middle school for that development. So bring them here. I challenged the kids, the high school kids, when I met with them, to make us have to adopt more sessions. Right? We want to overload that weight room if we can. We feel that this is a portion of our athletic programs that we really truly have a grasp on and that we can control. We can't control who we play. We can't control what classification we're in. We can't control those things. But what we can control is how much effort we're willing to give to the betterment of ourselves and to our team. I don't have the specific data with us tonight, but I can tell you right now that if I were to look back at the last 3 years postseason awards at the high school, meaning state championships, individual state championships, all conference, all state, those kids are staples in the weight room. There might be the very few that are not, but for the most part, those kids are earning that from their time there. It's not just based off of their natural ability, right? They're putting the time in and day out. So we really encourage you all, student athletes and parents, push them, try to get them in there. They're going to be sore. It's not going to be a whole lot of fun in the beginning, but it will be worth it. I promise you that. We have a lot of things coming. So, any questions with the summer lifting program? We have a new coach coming on board. He's going to be our new elementary PE teacher. His name is Coach Bowker. He will take the high school athletes with Coach McPhee and Coach Porcella. And then myself and Coach Bears will be taking the middle school group at 8:30. So those are kind of your point of contacts there. Any other questions with summer lifting, speed, and agility? Okay, very good. Okay, so the next big piece, and this is truly the big piece that we're unrolling for this year. This is brand new for 2021 and beyond. We have decided through discussion with coaches, administration, school board, that we are now going to allow our varsity coaches to make cuts where they feel necessary. And I know that's a scary word, the word cut. But here's why, okay? First off, coaches will have that discretion whether they choose to or not. Each year is going to be a little bit different based off of the numbers of kids that fill specific roles as far as different positions. So we can't guarantee that volleyball is going to cut, but basketball won't. It's going to be based off of a year-by-year situation. And it will only be at the varsity program. And so we definitely are going to protect our freshmen and sophomores. We feel that it's very important that they have those years of growth. We just don't want to get to the point where we have a first-year senior coming out and expecting playing time after we've had lots of kids putting time in for the last 6 to 8 years. We don't feel like that's fair. So the why we've decided to do this. It's mostly driven for our team sports. We are trying to drive that competitiveness. I'll give you an example here in a minute, or I guess right now. I had something that stuck with me a couple summers back when we were doing our summer lifting program. And I had a family drop off two of three of their children. And I asked where the third one was. And the response was, well, they don't feel like they need to be here because they know they're going to make the team, right? To me, that's why at times we're not successful. We can't just sit on the back burner, show up for basketball in November, and hope to make it to state. It just does not work that way anymore. Lots of these programs that are competing for state titles, when we talk about team sports, they're all beginning 3rd, 4th grade with traveling leagues. And so we really can't afford to sit on the sideline, not get better, not work as a team, and expect the outcome to be in our favor. So we're driving competitiveness. An example within our programs. Some of our programs have natural cuts and we are seeing successes there. I would use wrestling as an example. Wrestling, you have to beat the other kid in your weight class in order to compete. And on that prior slide there, we saw we had 4 state champion wrestlers this year. Those are kind of the natural cuts. Golf's a lot the same. You have to be in the top 5 scoring-wise in order to compete at the varsity level. That's driving the competitiveness and the motivation of the kids. We also think that there may be a sort of a byproduct with participation in all activities. Maybe we understand that by the time we're sophomores, maybe basketball is not for us. But wrestling is missing 182 pounders, so maybe I can go help the wrestling program to be more successful as well. So we do think that there will be some good outcomes from it that maybe weren't necessarily intended. We also know at the middle school level, we just finished our 2nd year of allowing 6th graders to try out for 7th grade positions that were vacated or not available. In years prior to that, I would say we were averaging somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 to 10 middle school players per grade level. And then as soon as we allowed 6th graders to try out, those 7th and 8th grade numbers jumped up to like 18 to 22 numbers. So there's that competitiveness there. They feel it. I think we just have to harness that a little bit. Any questions with that? I know this is kind of a big piece to unroll for the year. All right. Very good. All right, we're ready for the next slide. Okay, so just your start dates for high school, middle school, fall sports. It's coming up quickly, believe it or not. So high school golf will begin August 9th. High school cross-country volleyball and football August 16th. And then middle school cross-country volleyball and football August 18th. Originally we had talked about maybe starting middle school athletics on Monday the 16th as well. But when we started scheduling, we noticed that a lot of the other school districts are starting the week after us for school. Therefore, they wanted to bump back their time. So we didn't want the kids to have to practice for like 3.5 weeks before their first competition. So it's that way. Okay, important reminders coming up. So up-to-date physical. Every kid has to have this before they're able to practice. We have some handouts on the front table. We also mailed home some packets. There's some available dates through Red Rock to get yourself a discounted physical price. We have to do this every year when we get to fall. I know I'm the same way. I procrastinate and wait, but we truly can't let them do anything with any of our athletics until we have that in hand. We are working with Red Rock as well to try to figure out a way that maybe we can just digitally share those as soon as they get their physical at Red Rock. It can be digitally shared with us, so there's not the middleman. We've had that before too, where the parent says, well, I gave it to my child, the child says I gave it to the coach says I gave it to the AD says I gave it to my AD secretary, but nobody can find it, right? So hopefully that will help that as well. The next piece on there is online registration. I feel like this helps us a ton with paperwork tracking, kind of the same thing that I just talked about with physicals. But we have to do it annually. So one thing we ran into was we had that great participation our first year out. Almost everybody was registered online right away. But then last year, we didn't maybe realize that we have to go in and renew that and sign off on the new forms for that year. So you do have to update every year. You just don't have to go through the whole gamut of registration. With our fall parent meeting that will be coming up, we plan to have some Chromebooks out so that we can help you with that registration process right there. We do have to have those done before they can compete. They can still practice, but no competition until that's done. Also wanted to remind you that our sports schedules should be up to date now. Our scheduling meetings were bumped back due to COVID. But I think that I've got pretty much all of them on there. You're going to see tweaks and changes as we go through the summer. Other ADs will look at their schedule and realize that they have conflicts, or I'll look and we see we have conflicts. So things will change, but those schedules are online, hotsprings1.org. If you subscribe to the calendar, anytime there's a change to your son or daughter's sports schedule, it will email you that update. So we feel like that's a very valuable piece, that as soon as I make a change on a game time or we have to flip a date or something, it should email you right away and let you know. We'll still try to communicate the best we can as well, of course. Any questions about those reminders?
For the online registration, when does that open up for next school year?
First of August, probably. I think.
Yeah, I can't remember what Josh said. I want to say it was either July 1 or August 1.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that was another issue we ran into was some parents were way ahead of the ball game and got it done in May, like right now, but it didn't update when we had the new ones out. So I would encourage you to wait until probably August. They have to go through and reset all their forms with all their new stuff. Good question. Other questions? Okay, we'll go on to the last slide there. This is kind of the schedule for the remainder of the evening. So when it says like football, sorry, I cut some of that off, I apologize. Football at the top, you guys will meet at 6:20. That's high school and middle school. So you guys will all be in the gym. High school and middle school volleyball will be right here in the commons. Golf, we're going to go to the front conference room. And then cross country will be down this hallway, the first classroom on the right, in there. Then at 6:40, we'll rotate. Cheer's going to be in the conference room, boys basketball in the gym, girls basketball here, wrestling in the health room. Some of you probably noticed that track is not on there. Track is not going to meet tonight. They are going to work very closely with cross country since we have the same coach. That works out pretty nice. But track athletes have their end of the year banquet on Monday, the 24th, and so a lot of this information for summer work for track specific will be shared there. Check my time. I think we're 6:13, so we got a little bit of time to transition. I'll hang around here for a couple minutes before I go into my golf meeting if you have questions. As soon as the golf meeting is over at 6:20, I'll hang around for a little bit as well for more questions if you have it for activities. All right. Once again, thank you for coming. We'll go ahead and disperse to individuals or meetings.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me sit with you. See you tomorrow.
Hey, girls.
As you're on the remind, yeah, all of this stuff is just text me if you have questions.
Okay.
Yeah, you decided.
The heck, sis?
Is anybody else in a middle school volleyball player?
Yeah, you can hit it. I'll come.
Right up.
Okay, I'm going to just go ahead and start talking, if that's all right with everybody. We're going to go over the middle school stuff first, quickly and fast, I guess. If you guys have questions in the middle of me talking, just raise your hand or find me afterwards. And then Coach K is going to go over the high school stuff. It's a little bit different. A lot of the stuff is pretty